friend Jesse Vargas. I want to invite you to watch Jay Calderon boxing. All right, check us out.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jay Calderon, Stand Clean Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's boxing talk. We're going to do a recap over the fight that took place on HBO when WBO middleweight champion Billy Joe Saunders traveled over to Canada to take on hard-hitting puncher David Lemieux. Now, this was an excellent performance by the champion. A lot of people were doubting Saunders in this fight. People were saying that David Lemieux was just going to basically knock this guy out unconscious, and it just didn't happen. We know that David Lemieux was a limited type fighter. He's always been a top 10 middleweight contender in the division, a hard-hitting puncher, perhaps one of the hardest hitters in the 160-pound weight division. But David Lemieux, we've seen when he fought against a guy like Marco Rubio, that he was able to get stopped in that fight against a guy like Rubio, a guy that's not even a boxer, but more of a brawler. This was early on in David's career, but he was able to bounce back, and we've seen him in some good fights. But Triple G was really the one to expose him by using his jab and dominating the fight, and showed that he was able to be smarter and outbox David Lemieux, taking away the toe-to-toe combat. And that's exactly what Billy Joe Saunders did. This guy boxed a superb fight. He showed great footwork, a lot of movement in that fight. Some people are going to say that he ran, but this guy fought in the pocket. He picked and chose when it was time to fight. He made David Lemieux miss a lot of punches in there. This guy was swinging at fresh air, just like Billy Joe said. He made him look like a fool in there. He was embarrassing him with the quick hand speed. He was showing a beautiful, strong jab. That jab was on point, setting up his shots, landing at will, blooding the nose of Lemieux, and he was just basically dominating David in this fight. And the crowd that was on hand was perhaps 14,000 in attendance of Canadian fans that were going for their hometown favorite. And this guy just couldn't land a solid shot throughout the whole fight. This fight went 12 rounds, and I couldn't even give one round to David Lemieux in this fight. The way he got dismantled in this fight was just a pure boxing clinic for Billy Joe Saunders. I commend him for going over to Canada and taking a dangerous fighter, a very big puncher, and facing Lemieux in front of his whole town, and he put on a great performance. And this one put the boxing world on notice, because Billy Joe Saunders is for real. I knew that he was the real deal. We know that he has had lapses in his career where he hasn't trained well. He hasn't put in a very good effort in fighting some of the top guys out there, and he's always made all these different excuses. But now he has a new trainer in Dominic Engel, one of the best trainers in the UK, and he really came in great shape. He showed great stamina in this fight. What can you say? When Billy Joe is on his game and in great shape, this guy is a problem for anybody to deal with in the division. I know a lot of people are going to start calling David Lemieux a bum now, that he wasn't nobody, but come on. This guy was always a B-level type of fighter, a guy that could handle mostly anyone in the division that couldn't box. If you go toe-to-toe with this man, this guy is a devastating puncher, and he will take your lights out. But if you know how to box, you could dismantle this man and have an easy night, especially with great defense. And that's what Billy Joe put on. He put on a great defensive display. It was the best performance of his career. But let's take it back when he beat Andy Lee. Andy Lee was a top contender for that world title. He was a good amateur with good boxing skills and another hard-hitting puncher. And we saw what Billy Joe did to him. He was able to drop him twice in that fight and showed pure dominance. He hasn't looked that way since. We've seen him against Willie Monroe Jr., a very good, slick boxer, a guy that a lot of people also thought was going to beat Billy Joe because Monroe was considered to be a superior boxer than Saunders, but Saunders showed that he was in total control, and that was the first fight that he had with his new trainer, Dominic Engel. And now we've seen in his second performance how good he really is once he takes his training camp seriously and he's ready to get down to business. Now, the middleweight division is loaded. It's one of the best divisions out there right now. It's been a long time since we've seen the 160-pound weight class with such great talent. We have guys like Daniel Jacobs, who just called out Billy Joe, saying that he would like to have him come to New York and fight him at the Barclays Center. I would love to see that fight. I would definitely fly to New York to see that fight right there, because these are pure athletic fighters. These guys both have great boxing skills. Both guys are big middleweights. Both guys are strong and have good power. I have the power edge with Jacobs though. Jacobs is a heavy hitter. He also has that hand speed and that boxing skills, and he can give Saunders some problems in here. I know a lot of people pick Jacobs as the heavy favorite against this man. This guy is always going to be the underdog against any of the guys in the middleweight division because he doesn't get a lot of respect. But I got to tell you, I have him as a 50-50 shot against Jacobs. I believe that he could possibly take Daniel Jacobs in that fight. Let's hope that they're willing to make that fight because Triple G and Canelo are going to fight in May. These guys are very close to their deal. They're not going to make a fight with Billy Joe anytime soon. So who does he fight? Does he make an optional title defense because he's already fulfilled his mandatory by fighting David Lemieux? And he could fight a guy for a pretty decent payday in the UK in his hometown? Or does he take the risk and come overseas once again? Is the money pot big enough? Can a guy like Eddie Hearn make a great deal for him to come to New York to defend his title against a dangerous fighter like Daniel Jacobs? Or is Jacobs willing to go over to the UK and take that title back to the United States? Because he does have a UK promoter, one of the biggest in the business. And Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn really don't have a great relationship. These guys don't see eye to eye. But if the pot is big enough and the money is definitely in the UK, because I don't think Brooklyn can match the amount of money that they can make overseas in England against Billy Joe. So let's see if Jacobs is willing to make a deal and go over there for the right amount of money for that title shot opportunity. But it's a great fight that I would love to see. It's a matchup like a mini middleweight division tournament because you have Triple G and Canelo going in May Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas most likely. And that's going to be another great fight because the first one was a thrilling fight. And a lot of people were on the fence with who really won that fight. You also got one of the Charlo brothers that's fighting at 160 pounds. He's another guy that's a mandatory for Triple G and that WBC belt. But they're giving Triple G a pass so that he can fight Canelo. So who does Charlo fight next? You know, there's guys in the division that he could be matched up with, and a guy like Jacobs is a fight that I've been advocating for quite some time. That's a fight that's pretty much easier to make because both guys are managed by Haymon, and HBO is opening the door now to Haymon fighters, and it's a great fight that could be possibly made, hopefully in 2018. But I think they're going to avoid each other right now and go in different directions. They want the world title shot. I think Jacobs has a better chance of getting his opportunity first before Charlo. Another guy that's out there, you know, as Landy Lara, is he willing to move up to 160 pounds and test the water in that division? You got Demetrius Andrade that's calling out Billy Joe Saunders as well. I believe he's willing to go over to the UK to make a fight possible, but he's a guy that a lot of people do not have interest in. He wants guys like Daniel Jacobs. He wants one of the Charlo brothers, but these guys are not willing to get into the ring with him. He's a very talented fighter, a skillful fighter that's undefeated and once a very good amateur. But this guy, I really don't have that much faith in him. I don't think that he could beat any of these top guys. I think Saunders could definitely beat him. I believe Jacobs could beat him as well. I edge Charlo over him as well, and he's definitely not hanging in there with Triple G or Canelo Alvarez. So what does Saunders do? He has a lot of opportunities to face these guys, to make a name for himself. Saunders needs a big challenge. He needs to take another big risk to draw more interest in a Canelo Alvarez and a Triple G fight. His biggest asset is that WBO title that both of these guys are going to want. But I believe Saunders is the clear-cut underdog against a guy like Canelo. Canelo is a guy that's a brawler, boxer, puncher. He's a guy that could pose a threat to Saunders and take that title because Canelo is very good. Let's face it, he has a great jab, he has good defense, and he has quickness as well. But his footwork is not on the same level as a Saunders. I think Saunders could box circles around Canelo Alvarez. But if Canelo could find him better than Lemieux was able to do, I believe Canelo could definitely chop down that tree and perhaps stop him in the later rounds or even win a decision, especially here in the United States where he's the more popular fighter. I believe Canelo Alvarez can lift that belt off of Billy Joe Saunders. But Saunders, I give him a good shot. I think he can make it a very good, interesting fight. It could be a very close fight. Now, a guy like Triple G, he holds the other 3 title belts in the middleweight division. And Triple G is a guy that's willing to go over to the UK and make that fight happen. It's a big money fight, either in UK or in the United States, or even in his hometown, where his team was trying to make the fight, but Triple G went in the direction of Canelo Alvarez. Now, if he could get past Canelo Alvarez in May, a fight with Billy Joe is definitely in the cards, and it's a long-awaited matchup that we've been waiting to see against the best middleweights in the division. I think Triple G has the jab, the pedigree to cut off that ring, and the punching power to really wear down a guy like Saunders. But Saunders will definitely be a tough task for Triple G. Even though I have Triple G winning that fight in the later rounds, I think Saunders gives anybody at 160 pounds a serious run for their money, and he's a great asset to this division. And I can't wait to see Billy Joe in a big, meaningful fight, because he really impressed me. I already knew and had faith in him as a guy that had exceptional talent, because he was an outstanding British amateur for Great Britain. And I believe that he is one of the best middleweights in the division when he's on his game and he's in the best shape possible. I think he has the right team behind him, and I expect big things for him in 2018. And I can't wait to see him again, because this was a great performance. And I gotta say that 2017 has been a great year for Jay Calderon Boxing Talk. It's also been a great year for boxing fans, with so many great matchups, so many thrilling fights. Fight of the year candidate for me was definitely Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. That was a great fight. So many great memories for me this year. Got a lot of interviews with Kelly Pavlik, with Shakur Stevenson, Luis Collazo, Peter Quillen, Willie Monroe Jr., and Jared Swift Hearn. You know, I want to thank all those guys for giving me the opportunity to interview them. I want to thank everyone that keeps on tuning in to Jay Calderon Boxing Talk. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel right here. I'm going to try to bring you 2018, a very good year, with more interview exclusives by me, traveling to more boxing events next year as well, and also hopefully getting that website up and running, jcalderonboxingtalk.com. So please follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, and join the Facebook boxing group page, all under the same name, Jay Calderon Boxing Talk. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, make comments, continue to follow, continue to subscribe. I want to thank each and every one of you. Happy holidays from Jay Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm Jay Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support. Keep watching, and please subscribe.